Friends, if I ask you who are not interested or who are not hungry of power, you may say everybody is hungry of power. We too have such people. I mean, the politicians who believe that nothing, nothing can be achieved without power. They go on saying, I join power because I want to bring about the positive change in my constituency. We don't get money from the center. Center has to be always in good relationship with the state, etc., etc., etc. Many excuses they will find out for their own ambition. But friends, let me tell you that they play politics in the name of service. I mean, Samaj Seva. Anyways, our topic is not to talk about that way politics, nor do I intend to talk about it. But a question comes in my mind. Tell me, tell me a place. Tell me a place where there is no politics. Right from our kitchen to our bedroom, politics undoubtedly influences us. So, I do not find any meaning in being what I call as apolitical. Why am I talking about this? Simple reason is that this particular play we are going to talk about actually is a history play, a history of Roman Empire. The incidents that have happened in this place or in this play, they are the past incidents. Actually, Julius Caesar has been killed, and the Roman Empire, it has witnessed a civil war. As I am talking to you, let me ask you a simple, a very simple question. Have you seen a single politician? Have you seen a single politician who don't want to bring their children in the politics? Of course, there are certain exceptions, but exceptions are present in every field. But we see, especially in India, generations after generations, literally generations after generations are in the politics. बाप के बाद बेटा, बेटे के बाद पोता, पोते के बाद परपोता, and the things go on never ending. Reason is simple, जन सेवा करते करते बहुत कुछ मेवा भी मिलता है. I remember one quadrant. I mean, Charoli, it is called Charoli in Marathi. 4 lines. I had written long back. गुडघे टेकून हात जोडलात, गुडघे टेकून हात जोडलात, भेटेल तुम्हाला जीवनात मेवा. गुडघे टेकून हात जोडलात, भेटेल तुम्हाला जीवनात मेवा. सॉक्रेटिस बनून जगायचं तर विशेष प्यायची तयारी ठेवा. I write good poetry also. You don't believe it. Let it be. We come across such politicians as well who are continuously engaged in अपने आका के कसीदे पढ़ने में हमेशा व्यस्त रहते हैं. Anyways, let us keep politics aside. तो दोस्तों, मेरे नरेशन की अपॉलिटिकल बात ये है कि ये पूरा प्ले जिसके बारे में हम बात करने वाले हैं, जूलियस सीजर, ये पूरा पॉलिटिक्स पे बेस्ड है. सो माय फ्रेंड्स, माय नरेशन, पॉलिटिक्स इज अ मैंडेटरी स्पीक. फ्रेंड्स, Julius Caesar was a political and a military general in Roman Empire. He was born on 12th July 100 BC before Christ, in Italy, say around say around 21 to 2200 years ago. And he was assassinated on 15th March 44 BC. He was about 55 years of age when he died, when he was assassinated. Caesar married 3 times and he had an affair with one of the most beautiful women of this world, Cleopatra the Eighth. By the way, now, if I ask you, now, at present, who is the most beautiful lady of this world? ये क्वेश्चन बॉस, ये फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स में आने वाला है. हाँ, हल्के में मत लेना. So, friends, Julius Caesar overthrows the Rome's decaying political order and replaced with his dictatorship. A good dictatorship is what I mean here. He becomes most powerful person. Obviously, this was not liked by many. Many senators who were present, those who were very close to him, and they conspired to kill him, in today's language, to finish him. And they did it. They were successful in assassinating the man. Many senators, along with Brutus, killed Julius Caesar as they thought that they would restore the good times in Rome. They would bring the Roman Empire as a democratic country. Friends, if such a great important happening had not fueled William Shakespeare's genius, फिर शेक्सपियर होने का फायदा क्या है? क्या मजा है उसमें? Anyways, William Shakespeare wrote this play based on historical facts. But as you understand and know that William Shakespeare, a genius, lifted it above the mere historical facts and made it a drama of human passion, made it a drama of human ambition and goodness, and of course the faithlessness. You too, Brutus. With this play, we understand Julius Caesar or Brutus are not only the historical characters, they are present just besides us, as if collecting some sort of a grocery in a grocer's shop, as if they are standing besides us. We understand that a friend of mine, or you can say, in most cases, beloved of mine, is so faithful to me, but she deceives me for her aspirations. Then I say, you too, Brutus. तुमने तो, I remember one शेर, तुमने तो दिल हमारा तोड़ दिया, तुमने तो दिल हमारा तोड़ दिया, रास्ता अपना हमसे दूर मोड़ लिया. से तुमने तो दिल हमारा तोड़ दिया, रास्ता अपना हमसे दूर मोड़ लिया. क्या करूं अब, कुछ भी नहीं बचा. क्या करूं अब, कुछ भी नहीं बचा, तो किसी दूसरे को हमने साथ जोड़ लिया. This is a new poetry and a new sensibility. Anyways, if we consider the full title of the play, according to the first folio, the title is The Tragedy of Julius Caesar. But as the time passed, it was abbreviated to Julius Caesar. Means the tragedy of Julius Caesar became just Julius Caesar. This obviously is a play based on history. This play of William Shakespeare was first performed in the year 1599, at the time when he was writing Hamlet. Hamlet is also on my channel. To put it as one line story of the play, a conspiracy was led by Cassius to kill Julius Caesar. Brutus was confident of Caesar, almost like his own son. Joins Cassius and they, means all of them, they assassinate Julius Caesar. Mark Antony revolts against the conspirators, and the whole Rome goes into a kind of a civil war. This is what we can say, a one-line story of Julius Caesar. Friends, we all know William Shakespeare is known for the beginning of his plays. The beginnings are very remarkable. We can take all his plays that hold the attention of the audience. If I am allowed to use Vasant Kanetkar's own words, Vasant Kanetkar had said, within minutes, the audience in the theater must be nailed to the chairs in the theater. We knowing Vasant Kanetkar is a well-known name in Marathi playwriting. He was a well-known Marathi playwright. William Shakespeare was a master in his beginnings of the plays. As we can say, the audience must be nailed to. For example, a play like Othello, he keeps audience engaged in just thinking, what is that? What is that happening? The people talk about. In a play like Hamlet, audience is desperate to listen to the words of the ghost. Many dramatic techniques he uses in all his plays. Perhaps we can talk about it separately. So, in this 5-act play, he opens up with a grand procession that has been taken to honor Julius Caesar. If you want to replace the word procession, you can call it, in today's language, a road show. Our Indian politics do. People have gathered to hail, not H-E-L-L, hell. To hail is a kind of a greeting. Basically, the word has a German origin, but later on that was adopted in many languages. So friends, perhaps people have gathered to greet Julius Caesar. It is a very big crowd. From that crowd, Marullus and Flavius come out of that gathering, who are celebrating. The whole gathering is celebrating Caesar's victory over Pompey. The victory is marked by public games. In that, as we have blood donations and all that, in that public game, Mark Antony takes part. When Caesar is on the way, a soothsayer, or you can say a stranger, or you can say a Jyotishi, stops him and asks him to be aware of the ideas of march. But Caesar, not ideas of march. But Caesar, ignoring his words, and moves on to his victorious celebration. Friends, there was difference in the way of calculating time in Roman Empire. Ideas of march, IDES. Ideas of march means almost mid of the March. According to the Gregorian calendar, it is 15th March. Cassius and Brutus were the intimates of Julius Caesar. They engage in conversation. They realize that the people want Caesar to be their king. Cassius says that it is only lack of ambition of Brutus that has made Caesar the king. The other senators like Casca tell Brutus and Cassius that Antony offered a crown to Julius Caesar 3 times. three times, and for all the three times, Caesar refused it. Every time, the people cheered up. In spite of the weakness, people believed in Caesar and took him as their king. The plebeians, that is, the crowd's devotion to Caesar, was unaltered. At this moment, Cassius hatches a conspiracy and I want to see that Brutus comes to their side or becomes a part of their conspiracy. The conspiracy was obviously to kill Julius Caesar. If honest and trustworthy persons like Brutus join their party, things would things would be very easy, they thought. Even today, even today, this kind of tactics that go into the politics. Political people always need some good people, people with good character, because hidden under their character, the game of the politics is played. Okay, that night, the room witnessed a violent weather. Shakespeare does it very nicely. That night, the Rome witnessed a violent weather. Here we understand how Shakespeare plans his acute scenes, important scenes, and how he selects the backdrop to his actions. In this, in this disturbed atmosphere, Cassius and his company, they managed to drop some forged letters which were supposed to be written by the Romans. Brutus, Brutus reads those letters and takes them as the real expressions of the Romans or the Roman people. I mean, he considers it to be the Roman aspiration. To him, the country was beyond everything. He too understands that Rome is not safe in the hands of Julius Caesar. He intends, he intends to join the conspirators in order to save Rome from the hands of a to be a dictator. He could not believe, he could not believe that his country could be a dictator led empire. By that time, Cassius arrives there. Brutus had already made up his mind to be the part of that conspirators. Cassius tells Brutus that they would kill Antonio too, but Brutus did not approve it because because he thought too many deaths would question their motive. Now here is Portia, who is a Brutus' wife. She pleads with Brutus for his preoccupation, but in vain. Bechari, why to thee? In the scene, we see that Caesar wants to leave the Senate hall. He wants to leave to the Senate hall. His wife, Calpurnia, begs him not to go to the Senate hall because she had seen a very bad dream. In the dream, she had seen that Caesar had streamed in the bloodshed and smiling men bathed their hands in his blood. The dream that Caesar's wife had seen, or Caesar's wife Calpurnia had seen, indeed was very, very scary one. Obviously, no wife would want her husband to risk his life, but he was Julius Caesar, the brave man, the victorious man. He says to his wife, cowards die many times before their death. Cowards die many times before their death. The valiant never taste of death but once. He adds, death is a definite thing to come. It will It will come when it has to come. Men are not worried of men are not worried of it. He departs to the Senate hall along with the conspirators, as if, my dear friends, he was carrying his own death himself. As Caesar was heading to the Senate, once again, the soothsayer, or you can say Jyotishi, appears, tries to come very close to Caesar, but fails to get Caesar's attention. Shakespeare conceives the scene like a great playwright. Are What am I saying? Who else is greater than William Shakespeare as a playwright? Shakespeare is Shakespeare, and others are others. That's it. Now, at the Senate, because already Julius Caesar has gone, at the Senate, whatever has to happen, happens. All the conspirators encircle Julius Caesar with a false, or rather unimportant appeal. They just need to have an excuse to begin stabbing him. They were waiting. They were waiting for a triggering point. And that comes and they stab him. Now, blooded Caesar sees Brutus. He is confident. He is loyal, almost like his own son. And he moves to him to seek his help. But Brutus too stabs him. Caesar falls down, saying, "Then falls Caesar." On the fall of Caesar, everybody screams. And the scream is the three words: liberty, freedom, and tyranny is gone. Tyranny is dead. The murderers bathe their hands and their swords in his blood, in Julius Caesar's blood. Calpurnia's premonition becomes the actuality. Antonio had been away at that time. Caesar fell to death. As he comes, when Antonio comes back, he makes a false pretext and shakes hands with the conspirators. Upon asking by Antonio, why did they kill Julius Caesar? Brutus had his words. He killed Julius Caesar because for him, Rome was a priority. Brutus even says that he will reply in the funeral of Caesar. First, Brutus was to speak, and of course, Antonio seeks his permission to speak after Brutus. Antonio speaks. Antonio's speech is an exceptional example. It is an exceptional example of how he raises all the Romans and the countrymen against Brutus and other conspirators. They all conspirators fled the country. Meanwhile, Caesar's adopted son, Octavius, arrives in Rome. He, that is Octavius, Antony, and Lepidus decides to fight against the conspirators who are preparing for some kind of a war. Meanwhile, Brutus and Cassius had a heated argument regarding money and the honor. Brutus even comes to know that his wife Portia has killed herself. Caesar's ghost also appears before Brutus, as you can see in Macbeth. Friends, you know that Elizabethans believed in supernatural elements. So most of the Elizabethan plays have that kind of supernatural elements, like ghosts, like witches, it can be prophecy, and it can be some sort of a magic. Shakespeare has used these elements in his plays, but today they represent the sick mind of the sinner. We learn that Cassius and Titanus have met their own deaths. When Brutus comes to know about the deaths of Cassius and Titanus, Brutus too dies in a very dramatic way. How he dies? Brutus asks one of his very faithful servants to hold the sword, and my dear friends, see the death of Brutus. And he impels, or you can say, pushes himself onto that sword and dies. And Antony speaks on the dead body of Brutus and calls him the noblest of all Romans, because all the conspirators acted out of the envy, but Brutus was the only person who had a pure thoughts about Rome. He was actually misled by the conspirators, those letters and everything that you know. Octavius, who was the next heir of a Roman Empire, orders Brutus to be buried in an honorable way. Friends, this is the brief story of Julius Caesar. Actually, it is a plot of the play in which we see how a false perception of a person creates some sort of confusion, and under that false notion we go on pampering our false egos, and our actual buried wishes bring about the death of our dear ones. Julius Caesar no doubt gives us insights to assess ourselves in real light. It challenges our false or the wrong egos and self-esteem. Now let us try to understand the important happenings in the play. They are Julius Caesar becomes victorious in the war of Pompey. His victory is celebrated by all Romans. His senators develop a wrong perception about Caesar. Brutus too develops that kind of perception. Next is all of them kill or assassinate Julius Caesar, one of the most dramatic scenes. Then Antonio gives a very moving speech on the death of Caesar, to all the Romans. Then after his lecture, tables are turned against the conspirators. Then Cassius and Titanus die. Brutus and his wife Portia die. Octavius is declared the heir to Julius Caesar. He is to rule Rome next to Julius Caesar. Friends, the play Julius Caesar or any work of art is not to be taken only for examination purpose. At least I don't think so. Learn the life lessons from those creative or from these creative pieces. You cannot say Shakespeare is merely for 30 marks or Milton's poetry is for 20 marks. So on and so forth. It can go on like that. Hope you are enjoying. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And more importantly, ask your friends to subscribe my channel DMS Underlines. You can keep this link on your DP and status as कुछ ज़्यादा ही बोल गया ना मैं. Anyway, thank you for watching. Keep in touch with me and remain connected.